He was a titan, a mogul, a name that resonated with power and influence across the globe. Sean Diddy Combs, the name synonymous with success, now faces accusations that could shatter his empire. Once celebrated for his business acumen and musical genius, he now stands at the precipice of a downfall. On September 16, 2024, the world watched in disbelief as Diddy was escorted out of the luxurious Park Hyatt, New York, not in a limousine but a police car. The scene was surreal, a stark contrast to his usual grand entrances. The charges? Sex trafficking, racketeering, words that seemed unimaginable when associated with a figure of his stature. His once untouchable aura, gone. The man who once seemed invincible now appeared vulnerable and human. Diddy built his career on charisma and confidence. He was a master of reinvention, always staying ahead of the curve. He was the life of the party, the ultimate showman. His energy was infectious, his presence commanding. But behind the dazzling smile, a darker side allegedly lurked, a side that the public never saw, hidden behind the glitz and glamour. The arrest sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, leaving fans grappling with the possibility that their idol might be a predator. The disbelief was palpable, the betrayal felt deeply. This wasn't a simple scandal. It was a seismic event that shook the very foundations of the entertainment world. This was a full-blown takedown, a reckoning decades in the making, the culmination of years of whispers and rumors finally coming to light. As whispers turned into shouts, the question on everyone's mind was, how did we not see this coming? The signs were there, but perhaps we chose to ignore them. The answer, as it often does, lay hidden in plain sight. In the end, the truth was always there, waiting to be uncovered. Room 2115, a number that once signified opulence and exclusivity, now shrouded in mystery and scandal. Once a sanctuary of luxury and excess, it became a crime scene, a stark contrast to its former glory. The room, once filled with laughter and music, now echoed with silence and suspicion. It was here that the world-famous Sean Diddy Combs allegedly led a double life, one that the public could scarcely believe. The evidence found within these walls painted a picture far removed from his glamorous public persona. The evidence painted a disturbing picture, each item meticulously catalogued by the authorities, each piece telling a part of a dark and twisted story. Baby oil, pink ketamine, innocuous items on their own, but together they hinted at something far more sinister. A wad of cash totaling $9,000. Not just pocket change, but a significant sum that raised eyebrows and questions. These weren't the tools of a music mogul, but the instruments of a man accused of exploiting women for his own gratification. The contrast between his public image and the private reality was stark. The prosecution meticulously laid out their case, piece by piece, building a narrative that was hard to ignore. They argued that the items found were not just random objects, but integral parts of a calculated scheme. Each piece of evidence, a brick in the wall of their narrative. The baby oil, the ketamine, the cash, all parts of a puzzle that painted a damning picture. The baby oil, they argued, was used for massages that quickly turned into something far more sinister. What started as a seemingly innocent act, they claimed, often ended in exploitation. The ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, was allegedly used to incapacitate his victims, a tool of control, rendering them helpless and at his mercy. And the cash, the currency of exploitation, money that could buy silence, complicity, or worse. The defense countered, claiming the items were taken out of context. They argued that the narrative spun by the prosecution was a fabrication, a distortion of the truth. The baby oil, they argued, was for Diddy's own personal use. A simple, everyday item blown out of proportion. The ketamine, prescribed to someone else. A medication that had nothing to do with the alleged crimes. And the cash, well, that's just how Diddy rolls. A man of his stature and wealth often carried large sums of money, but the whispers persisted, casting a long shadow over his reputation. The evidence, while circumstantial, was damning. Each piece, a thread in a web of allegations that seemed impossible to untangle. And as the trial progressed, the whispers grew louder, fueled by the chilling testimonies of those who dared to speak out. The courtroom became a battleground of narratives, each side fighting to control the story that would ultimately define the fate of Suite 2115. The courtroom fell silent, the air thick with anticipation and tension. As Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, took the stand, her presence alone commanded attention, and the room seemed to hold its breath. Her voice, barely a whisper, sent chills down the spines of those present. Each word she spoke seemed to hang in the air, heavy with emotion and truth. She spoke of a man consumed by his own desires, a man whose charm and charisma masked a darker, more sinister side, a man who used his power and influence to control and manipulate those around him. Ventura's words painted a vivid picture of manipulation and control. Ventura detailed years of alleged abuse, recounting incidents that left the courtroom in stunned silence, painting a picture of a toxic relationship fueled by drugs and manipulation. Her testimony was a harrowing account of a life lived in fear and control. Her testimony was a bombshell, confirming the worst fears of those who had long suspected Diddy's dark side. She wasn't alone in her accusations. Don Richard, another former flame, corroborated Ventura's claims, adding weight to the allegations, recounting instances of Diddy's alleged violence and controlling behavior. Her testimony echoed Ventura's, painting a consistent picture of abuse. She spoke of his explosive temper, his possessiveness, and the fear that permeated their relationship, his need to control every aspect of her life. The courtroom listened intently, absorbing every detail of the harrowing accounts. Their testimonies, raw and emotional, provided a glimpse into the private world of Diddy, a world hidden behind the facade of fame and fortune, a world far removed from the glitz and glamour of his public persona. The courtroom was left to grapple with the stark contrast between the man they thought they knew and the man revealed through these powerful testimonies. The prosecution, led by the unflinching U.S. attorney, presented a pattern of behavior. This wasn't an isolated incident, they argued, but a long and disturbing history of violence against women. They presented evidence of previous accusations, whispers of assault and harassment that had been silenced by Diddy's wealth and influence. Stories emerged of women, some aspiring artists, others simply caught in Diddy's orbit, who claimed to have been victims of his aggression. The defense dismissed them as opportunists, seeking their 15 minutes of fame at the expense of a fallen icon. But the sheer number of accusations was difficult to ignore. It seemed that wherever Diddy went, trouble followed, leaving a trail of broken lives in its wake. Ventura's voice cracked as she uttered the words that echoed throughout the courtroom. "He's a monster," she whispered, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and defiance. She described a harrowing incident in 2016 at a Los Angeles hotel. An argument, fueled by jealousy and drugs, escalated into a physical altercation. Ventura claimed Diddy, in a fit of rage, violently assaulted her, leaving her bruised and terrified. The defense challenged her memory, suggesting her recollection was clouded by the passage of time and her own history with substance abuse. But Ventura stood firm, her voice unwavering as she recounted the terror she endured. Her testimony was a pivotal moment in the trial, a turning point that cast a long shadow over Diddy's carefully crafted image. Section 6. The defense rests. Diddy's defense team, a formidable collection of legal minds, mounted a vigorous defense. They argued that all interactions with the alleged victims were consensual, that Diddy was a victim of his own success, targeted by gold diggers seeking to profit from his fame and fortune. They pointed to his philanthropic endeavors, his image as a loving father, as evidence of his character. They painted a picture of a man who was generous to a fault, a man who was incapable of the crimes he was accused of. But the prosecution remained unconvinced, arguing that Diddy's wealth and power were tools of manipulation, used to silence and intimidate his victims. The courtroom became a battleground of narratives, each side vying for control of the story. Section 7. Hollywood reacts. The trial sent shockwaves through Hollywood, dividing the entertainment industry. Some, like Will Smith, distanced themselves from Diddy, while others, like Wendy Williams, expressed a sense of vindication, their long-held suspicions seemingly confirmed. Musicians grappled with how to address the allegations in their work. Keisha famously altered the lyrics of her hit song TikTok during her Coachella 2024 performance, replacing Wake Up in the Morning feeling like P. Diddy with Wake Up in the Morning like FKP Diddy. Eminem, never one to shy away from controversy, released a scathing track titled Fuel, taking aim at Diddy and the hypocrisy he represented. The song became an anthem for those who felt betrayed by the man they once idolized. The trial became a cultural moment, forcing a conversation about power, privilege, and the dark side of fame. Section 8. Awaiting the verdict. As the trial drew to a close, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. The jury, tasked with deciding Diddy's fate, deliberated for days. The weight of their decision was immense, the eyes of the world watching and waiting. Diddy, once the epitome of confidence, appeared subdued, his face etched with worry. The outcome of the trial would determine not only his freedom, but also his legacy. The verdict, when it finally came, would send shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. Section 9. Diddy's legacy tarnished. Regardless of the verdict, one thing was certain: Diddy's legacy was forever tarnished. The accusations against him, the harrowing testimonies of his alleged victims, had left an indelible mark on his public image. The man who once represented the pinnacle of hip-hop success was now a symbol of the industry's dark underbelly. His story, once a tale of triumph, was now a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked power and the price of fame. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs was more than just a legal proceeding. It was a cultural reckoning, a moment when the curtain was pulled back, exposing the dark secrets lurking beneath the surface of the entertainment industry.